Hello, welcome back once again to another entry into the Interstorm Games Presents series, our first season. We are counting down my personal top 100 games as of the year 2012. We've gone through 60 games already, Piper. 60 games. That means there's 40 left. 40 games. These are all awesome games. As you can see, Piper agrees. These are all awesome games. If you don't own these games, I highly recommend that you try them out. I'm pretty positive that you will want to pick them up, but I'll let you decide. For now, I'm just going to tell you what mine are, and you can decide for yourself. Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Starting off today with my number 39 game. It's Evo. Evo is exactly what it says. It's a game of evolution, or evolutionary mutations. In Evo, you're the leader of a tribe, and each tribe has their own specific type of dinosaur, which really only matters in picture only. But you're going to try and mutate your dinosaurs to survive the harsh environment of the land you live in. Because each season, each turn, the areas are going to change, depending on the... Well, I need to show everybody, though, first. I'll give it to you in just 1 second. So there's a dial that shows you what areas are going to be safe, which areas are going to be exposed to heat or cold, or which areas are even deadly to your dinosaurs. There you go. Because you want dinosaurs to survive to the end of the turn, because you get points for those dinosaurs, and you need those points not only to win the game, but you also need points to bid on other mutations that you want your dinosaurs to have. And those mutations can be a wide variety of things. You reach into a bag, you draw them out. They can be growing extra legs so you can move more dinosaurs further each turn.
Where's these go?
You want to be able to survive in cold environments.
Where's these go, Dad?
Where do those go?
Mm-hmm.
Where do they go?
Where does the rhino go?
Oh. You want to be able to breed more dinosaurs. You get to breed one every round, but the more you breed, the better chance they have at surviving. There are a lot of other mutations you can do. There's some specific, very special, unique mutations only one player will be able to have at a time. And you do get, I don't know, it may look like a Flintstones vitamin, but it really is. It's a dinosaur. And that's essentially it. You want as many dinosaurs to survive each round that you can. And get those points. Use those points to buy further mutations, but hang on to as many as you can because you need those points to win the game. And that's why number 39, Evo, is one of my considered awesome top 50 games. And I'm going to find some other way to end that and say Evo, number 39.
And Adventures.
My number 38 game is The Adventurers. The Adventurers is basically Indiana Jones in a box. Because in The Adventurers, you are going to be an adventurer. Yes, I know, hard to believe. And you will have an adventurer. You will have, there are several adventurers you can be. There's tons of them here. Play with all the adventurers. And the adventurers are going to be working your way through a temple. In this case, I believe it's called the Temple of Chalk. A temple. And you're going to be trying to get as many treasures as you can and make it to the exit. But be careful, the more treasures you get, the slower you move. So it's not just you want to keep your pace because the temple is out to get you. For instance, there is a rolling boulder, and the rolling boulder is kind of this is kind of the timekeeper. The boulder will be advancing throughout the game. If the boulder seals off the temple and you're trapped inside, you lose. It doesn't matter how many treasures you have. What else is there? There's walls that move together and crush you if you don't move fast enough. There's bridges that fall apart. There's fiery pits that you have to walk across. There's locks to pick. This is an awesome, awesome game. That's going to be my new catchword. It's no longer fun. It's now awesome. This game is a blast. It holds up to 6 players. We have 6 people running through the temple trying to gather all these treasures, pressing your luck because there's a pile of treasures for each single area. And so you're drawing the top card, but it may not be the best treasure. So do you want to stay there and try and get the best treasure, or do you want to move ahead and just get as many smaller ones as you can? Because remember, you're holding too many treasures, you're going to move slower, which means that boulder has a better chance of catching you and either crushing you or sealing you in the temple. I win this very rarely, but I always have a blast playing it. My number 38 the Adventurers.
8 Runebound.
My number 37 game is an adventure game. It is Runebound. Runebound is for an adventure game is essentially the board game equivalent of a role-playing game. You're going to take on the role of an adventurer. You're going to journey around the countryside, and you're going to try amass equipment, fight bad guys. And in the case of Runebound, there's actually a story, so you're going to try and beat the ultimate bad guy at the end, the Chief Lord. Runebound itself is very famous for having a lot of expansions, as are some other adventure games. I think there are more expansions out for Runebound than any other game in existence. A lot of card sets, a lot of extra equipment, extra armor, a lot of extra monsters you can fight, a lot of extra storylines, adventures you can go on. Here's a lot. This is just one box. I actually have another box full of Runebound that has all the maps in it, because in addition to the core set that comes with the base forest, wilderness map, there's also a jungle map, there's an island map, there's a desert map, there's a ice wasteland map. Anywhere you might want to be able to adventure in Runebound, you can go. They even have expansions that allow you to, I guess, prestige class for those who play Dungeons and Dragons might understand what that is. A prestige class for your characters. There is a lot you can do in Runebound. I won't go into it all in here. Maybe I'll do a special series on Runebound itself. But Runebound, one of the things I like about Runebound is that the store depends on what city you go to. So it's not just like a generic store. I go to a city, I'll buy whatever's on the top of the deck. Each city is going to have its unique store with its unique items. If you sell, it goes on that deck. If you buy out of that deck. And every time you go to a city, you add a new item. So their inventory is constantly rotating and changing. Also, the encounters are scaled as opposed to some other ones. So if you are a lower level and you know you can only fight a lower level creature, you can go to a lower level encounter. Green, yellow, blue, and red, I believe, are the encounter levels. So you can go through, and that there's also events. It's not just monsters you go and fight. It's an encounter. So you might have fight a monster, or you might have to do something, or there might be an event that changes the way the rules of the game for a while. It's also, you can play it solo, as probably most adventure games should be played. I probably wouldn't play more than 3 people on this one. It can hold up to, I think, 4 or 5. 3 is really pushing it. 2 is probably the best. You want to go head to head. Otherwise, play it solo, enjoy it. This is probably about as close, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 other adventure games out there, you're going to get to a true adventure game feel like you would in like a video game where you have that free roam, leveling up. And one I really enjoy, one I played a very, very long time, will continue to play, my number 37, Runebound.
7 rules.
My number 36 game is another one that takes place in the realm of Runebound, and that's Rune Wars. Whereas Runebound focuses on more of the adventurer on a solo level, or the singular adventurer running around on his quest. Rune Wars focuses more on factions, and is more of a almost more like a risk enhanced, gaining resources and a little bit Euro-fi for those of you who like those terms. One of the neat things about Rune Wars was that it actually gave you 3-dimensional mountains to put on your hex boards. Actually, they fit in from underneath, so they came through the board. It's a nice little enhancement. Doesn't affect the rules in any way, other than saying, "Hey, this mountain blocks line of sight. You got to go around it." One of the interesting things about Rune Wars is that the heroes from Runebound are also in Rune Wars, and they can be sent out on adventures and quests to help you gain points and gain. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'm blanking on what the victory system is here, but it is victory points, for lack of a better term. The game takes place across several seasons. You're giving orders to your troops, and once you use those orders, you can't use them again until the following year. If you like tactical games and you like fantasy, this is one of the better ones out there. It's not the best. We'll get to that one later. But this is a good one, and this is the first edition. They're coming out with the second edition. There's also expansions out for it. This is one that does take a while to play. I don't get it out as often as I'd like to. Speaking as often as I'd like to, I see Piper has left. If she's not back, we'll get another co-host. I've got someone on standby we can use. Oh, I'm sorry. We had to go see what's going on the TV because we have our priorities. And my priority is to put Runebound at number 36 on my top 100.
6 Jump Rider.
Alright, my number 35 game is one that's taking the world by storm, the gaming world by storm at the moment. Android Netrunner, another living card game. This one, if you're familiar with the Android universe, or better yet, if you're just familiar with Netrunner in general, Netrunner is not a new game. Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic, those of you who are very familiar with the Magic card game, created this shortly thereafter. Fantasy Flight has taken it, retooled it, and dropped it into their Android universe, and come back with probably one of the best card games of the year, at least as far as the living card game series goes. In Netrunner, you're going to take the role of either the, I won't say evil, just say a corporation, or you can take the role of a hacker. I won't say evil because they have their own purposes. You can make up whatever background you want for these corporations, these hackers. But what's really awesome about Netrunner is that the two sides play completely differently. Both sides have completely different sets of rules and how they interact, and how they engage, and how their setups go. And at the same time, the game is incredibly balanced. This is one of probably the most unique card game I've ever played, and probably one of the most enjoyable ones that I've ever played, short of deck building games. I can't give too much away other than the hackers are trying to upgrade their equipment, find the right programs to go and crash the servers of the corporation. The corporation's cards are set up in different servers, and they're going to try and lay down what's called ICE, which is basically their security programs. Hackers are going to try and, I think they're called runners in the game. They're going to try and break through those codes. And I've lost my co-host again. Yes? Okay. Well, I think Netrunner, despite what Piper might think, I think Netrunner is an awesome game. If you don't own it, go check it out. Again, one of the best card games, easily the best card game of, also the best card game of 2012, but definitely the best living card game, the best dueling card game. Yes?
I'm thirsty.
You're thirsty? Okay, we can get some water.
I only have water.
All right. Well, I'll get water, and you go out and get my number 35 game, Netrunner.
With your neighbors.
All right. I'm going to start out by making apologies. Netrunner was not my number 35. It was my number 36 game. And this is my new co-host, Amigo Bear. Amigo Bear is going to be walking me through my number 30. All right. Good help is so hard to find these days. But fortunately, my number 35 game is not that hard to find. It's not only at game stores. You can find it at Target, Walmart, Wits and Wagers. Wits and Wagers is Trivial Pursuit, where all the answers are number-based, but you're actually going to wager on the answers. Everybody's going to answer the question. You're going to read the question out loud. Everybody's going to answer. You're going to write down their best guess. Nobody has to be right. More than likely, nobody will be right. You're going to lay those answers out on an odds table. I'll set up right so you can see the name of the game. Piper's coming back. And then they'll be laid out from lowest to highest. And you're going to place your bid on which answer you think is right. You don't even have to bid on your answer. So you could be completely wrong. If you see someone else's answer that you think may be closer than yours, then, uh-oh, you okay? Okay, come on up. Play this one. It's just the board. There's not much in there to play with. Well, then we gotta put the other ones up, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll put those up in just a second. We'll leave these out. But you get chips. You're gonna wager your chips on which answer you think is right. And if whoever is the closest without going over, a la Price is Right, is going to be the winners. And they'll collect their chips, and you'll do that 7 times. And whoever has the most cash, the most chips at the end of the game wins. The game is designed for up to 10. You want to keep playing with those? Okay. No, you don't want to play with those anymore? Okay, we'll put them up. This game can hold up to however many you feel, because you can play teams. And this is probably one of the best party games of all time, in my opinion. And that's why it's at my number... That's why it's my number 35, Wits and Wagers. Alright, before I go on the countdown, I'd like to point out, probably in about 40 years or so, they'll ask me, when exactly did you first lose control? And I'll say around number 35.
Over here. I'm trying to do over here.
Don't let us get in your way or anything, okay, Piper? You alright? You got room? You got all the room you need? Alright. Well, that being said, let's go on to my number 34 game, which is Pillars of the Earth. Pillars of the Earth is a worker placement game. And for those of you that know me, worker placement is one of my favorite board game genres. First thing that really stands out with Pillars of the Earth is the board and how gorgeous. I'm going to show you this board because this is probably one of the most beautiful game boards you're ever going to see. Back. Too close. There. Even the expansion board has some of that same exquisite detail. In Pillars of the Earth, it's your typical worker placement game where you're building a church. Well, not that you build churches in all your typical worker placement games, but in Pillars of the Earth, you're building a church. For those of you who read the book, that focuses on that piece of it, the actual church building. Some of the other things that go on in the book are not taking place in this game. But one of the interesting things about Pillars of the Earth is its initiative system, in which there's a bag where all the player tokens will be placed inside, and they'll be drawn out one at a time at random, and you'll have the option to pay to go first, or place your token later on when it comes back around in turn. You'll be able to place it for free, but some of the other options may already be gone. Because gold management is very important in this game, as is accumulating workers, avoiding paying taxes. That's what our government does these days, paying taxes. Paying taxes, because the king will tax you.
Where are they going to put these?
Well, you're just putting them right there for now. And the game plays over several rounds. You'll be accumulating cards that have different workers on them, different occupations, occupational expertise that will allow you to take your resources and utilize them in different ways to make other resources or earn victory points or metal. The game is played over the 6 turns, so by the time you're done, you'll be building this church.
Church.
Yes, it's a church. Look at that. Boom, look at that. Build that church. How about that?
That don't look like a church.
That don't look like a church? Does that look like a church?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excuse me. And this is just the church's neat. It's just a time mechanism that tells you like how many turns are left in the game. But the bidding for, I must say bidding, just because you're choosing. But the blind draw, that for me that really helps Pillars of the Earth stand out above the other worker placement games out there, except for maybe one other that we will probably talk about later.
I do that.
No, you're playing with this game. Are you done with this game?
No, do that one.
You gonna play that one? Then you gotta put this one away.
Okay, these away.
You gonna put those away? I'll put all that away. And there's that one. All over there. While she's playing with that, I'll just show you the cover one more time. My number 34, Pillars of the Earth.
And shadows, lock.
Alright. My number 33 game is, as I try and regain control of this show, Shadows over Camelot. Shadows over Camelot is a cooperative game, probably one of the best cooperative games out there. In Shadows over Camelot, you are the Knights in the Round Table, and you are working together to thwart Mordred and the other forces that were working against King Arthur. Again, my mind's going blank. Lancelot's going to fight the dragon. You're going to quest for the Holy Grail. You're going to try and get Excalibur. The components for this game are pretty awesome. That's probably King Arthur himself right there. So the other knights, they have colored bases. You can keep track of who they are. There are several catapults that will help to work against you. The Holy Grail, Excalibur, Lancelot's armor. In this game, you're going to have a hand of cards. And you're going to use those cards to play in a certain way, usually with poker hands, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, full houses, straights. And you're going to play those cards against the evil cards, the black cards, if you will. And each turn you're going to have to do a good action and a bad action. So good action is anything that your knight does, whether it's moving to a new location, playing a card on a quest, fighting a catapult, drawing more white cards. On the evil turn, you're going to either draw a card or you're going to place a catapult. Place a catapult seems like the easier option because, well, if I draw a black card, something bad's going to happen. However, there's a limited amount of space for the catapults to go, and once the area, that courtyard is filled up, the game's over, you lose.
Game.
Do what?
Okay.
Then put the church back and you can play with this one. Here.
What are going to put this?
Just put it over there. It's fine. We'll get it. Let's see. Where was I? You place the black cards down. Each quest is going to get, depending on the black card that's drawn, it's going to be placed on a certain quest, or something bad is going to happen overall to everybody in the game. What makes Shadows of Camelot stand out above other games, and it was the first one to do this, to my knowledge, was that there can be a traitor in the game. So while you think everybody is working together, one player may or may not be working against you. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, because I didn't check before the video, so bad host. But I think that the expansion, you actually get a second traitor in there if you have enough players. Which, I don't know if I'd recommend or not, because it can be hard enough when you got one person trying to work against you. The ultimate goal is to have, for each quest that's completed or lost, you're going to place either a white sword or a black sword on the round table. Once the majority of swords is either white or black, I believe it's 7. I think there's 13 spots on the round table. So once 7 are filled up, the game is over. And if there's more black swords than white swords, then the game ends. Although I think we may be playing that wrong now. That just spun to the back of my head, because I think there may be cards allow you to turn white swords over to black or black swords over to white. So you probably do need to fill the table up all the way. So again, bad game. We're not playing by the rules. I have to look on the Board Game Geek to check on that. But a lot of people say that playing the poker hands isn't that thematic. I don't care. This game is a blast. One of the best co-op games there is. My number 33, Shadows over Camelot. Alright. My number 32 game is Colosseum. Colosseum looks like it's the game of gladiatorial games. It is not. Colosseum is the game of building a Colosseum and putting on attractions. Some of them may be gladiatorial games, others may be just shows in general. Your goal is to attract the most attendees to your Colosseum. The person who has done the best with that by the end of the game wins. And I put it that way because your victory points are not a running score. So if you brought 25 people to your first show and 25 people to your second show, you don't have 50 points, you only have 25 points. Throughout the game, you're going to be bidding in an open auction. Well, actually, you're going to be purchasing shows first. So here's the example of a show. As you can see, this one requires the 3 gladiators, 3 horses, 2 pieces of scenery, and it looks like a wizard or a magic user or shaman or some type. Excuse me. And so you're going to be going to the auction market to try and purchase the pieces that you need to be in your show, the people, the scenery, the units that you need to be in your show. And then at the same time, you also want to try and attract other people. So there are senators and the emperor himself can come by, and if you can get the emperor to your show, or one of the senators to your show, or other patrons, they'll give you bonus points. You can expand your Colosseums, bring in more people. You can, I think they're called season tickets. The whole goal is just bring as many people as you can. The game is very unique. You start out slow, you build up to a larger audience. The auction mechanic felt a little, probably the only complaint I have is maybe the auction mechanic, just because a couple of times we played, it seemed like everybody knew exactly what they're going to be bidding on because that was exactly what they needed. But Other than that, this game is great, especially the going back and forth. People trying to move the senators and the emperor and the others around, trying to bring them to their coliseums, trying to build the coliseums. The game itself is very limited. You don't have a lot of time to get all this stuff done, and so every decision you make is really important. If you make a bad decision, it could really cost you in the end. But overall, this game is, you gotta try it. You gotta play it at least once. This is, I'm speechless over this game. I'm so speechless, I'm just gonna end it right there and say, go play it. If you played it and you like it, then buy it. My number 32, Coliseum.
Hina Tokyo.
That brings us to my number 31 game. My number 31 is King of Tokyo. King of Tokyo, another Richard Garfield game. How about that? King of Tokyo, you're trying to, well, be the King of Tokyo. And as you can see in a 3 to 4... Well, one person can be King of Tokyo unless you're playing 5 to 6 players. Then King of Tokyo? King of Tokyo. As Piper's pulling out, when you're King of Tokyo, you might be the giant panda. You might be the Mecha Godzilla, or I don't remember the. Uh-oh, that's okay. There, you got to put them on the bases. You might be the King, or you might be the Kraken, who looks a lot like Cthulhu. Ooh, how odd. Or where's my personal favorite? You might be the Cyber Bunny.
What cyber?
Fear the Cyber Bunny. And King of Tokyo, you're basically going to roll dice Yahtzee style, and you're going to have the option to attack, to heal, to earn points, or to earn energy. The energy can be spent on cards. There are action cards that can give you additional powers throughout the game.
I can't stand up.
They won't stand up. You got to put them on the bases like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do that. The game it plays very quickly. If you're in Tokyo, you get points every round you're in Tokyo, but everybody who is not in Tokyo, when they attack, they only attack you. And you cannot heal in Tokyo. But when you're in Tokyo and you attack everybody else who's sitting around the table at the same time. So if you roll 4 attacks, everybody else is going to get attacked 4 times. I think you get 20 wounds or 10 wounds to start with. You're trying to get 20 victory points. This game, that one, you need to stand up for that one. There you go. Oh, Tokyo's very crowded. I cannot tell you how much fun this game is because it won't fit into a minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes worth of video. You have got to play this game. This game, it goes fast. There's an expansion out there. Since we got the expansion, the actual action cards don't get used as much because everybody's trying to get their evolution cards. There's like, I think Power Up is the name of the expansion. So then instead of the action cards, you can get evolution cards that give your character a unique power that's special just to them. This game is, it's just a total blast. You've got to check it out. You got to try it. My number 31, King of Tokyo.
I'm pushing.
Alright, and that wraps up this little bit of Wheels Off episode of Interstorm Games Presents. Again, thank you everybody who has taken the time to watch this. I really can't explain, I can't put into words how much it means to me. Everybody, I really thought this was going to be one of those videos that had like 2 views and both of them were going to be me. This has really stretched out. Those of you who are watching on a regular basis, those of you who are sharing with your friends, I really appreciate it. Actually, if everybody could just watch it individually, I really think it's great that everybody's sitting together as a family watching it, but that only gives me 1 view. No, I'm kidding. And that view, I appreciate so much. I really enjoy it. Again, you can follow us on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, Interstorm Games. There's also, you can follow us on Twitter. I don't tweet that much. I do tweet out when there is a new episode to see. I'm trying to get a little bit better about that. And the website, interstormgames.com. I promise I will update that someday. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully within this week. I don't know. Piper, do you want to have anything you want to say to wrap this one up? No? Alright, well, I can't top that. Silence is golden. Silence is acceptance. And I accept you guys supporting us. I really appreciate it. We'll be back next time with, wow, only 30 games left. We're getting so close. This is going to be great. Again, I appreciate everybody. I'm just rambling now, so I'm just going to sign off. Thank you very much.
Ta-da!